I'm Duncan Ferguson and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV as we look forward to this weekend's game against Manchester United. Baz, this one is a little bit weird for me. Man United, who have been in pretty poor form, but up till the last game, they were top of the league. So it's really hard to get a feel on them. You know, they've been playing awful. They got battered by Arsenal last game 3-0. But they've still been getting results, which at this stage of the season is all you want. So I don't know. I just don't know about this game. Help me out!
Have they been poor?
Yes.
Have they?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Well,
I spoke to someone from Manchester United television and they told me how poor they'd been today. And yet,
poor today or so far this season?
Well, they told me today, but so far this season. And yet, they have been, you know, they were top of the league a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a game that used to strike fear into my heart for many years because they were fantastic. But I've got to say, I'm not fearful in the slightest part of them. I think we'll beat them. I think they're a decent side. They've got some wonderful players, but I'm just not a fan of Van Gaal. I don't think he knows his best team. I think he's a little bit of a balder dash chancer. Quote Mr. Merrow. No, look, he's obviously got a fantastic record in football, but I just think at United he's been a little bit wishy-washy. Last season he was struggling, and his tactic was to throw Fellaini up front. All of a sudden, Fellaini does what he does well, which is knock people about and create space and make goals, and he put a good little run together. And he spent a lot of money, but I don't think he's tied down any kind of formation, any kind of shape with the team. So while they've been winning games and they've got quality players who can win the games, of course they have. When people say they haven't been playing very well, it's probably because they haven't really got a fluent pattern to them when you watch them.
There isn't. I don't think there's quite a balance there yet. I think that's a big thing. We always talk about balance and Everton's balance, but I'm not sure they've got a balance yet. There's a lot of people still bedding into the team. Obviously, Martial's come into the team. He looks a good player, looks very, very good. Looks like he's quick, got good movements, knows where the goal is, composed, quite cold as well in front of goal, which is exactly what you need. The Pies come in. I
honestly thought you said the Pie then. I was thinking, hey,
well, it's actually Memphis. I'm hurting his feelings. He's come in, he hasn't quite got going in the Premier League yet, but he looks alright in the Champions League. I think maybe the physicality of the Premier League. Schweinsteiger's come in as well. I'm not so sure about him. I don't know whether he may have come to the Premier League, maybe come a couple of years. Schneiderlin,
good player.
He's a good player. It's which one they play though.
He left them out against Arsenal, which surprised me because obviously Arsenal are a team that moved the ball around very quickly, and he put Schweinsteiger in there and Carrick, I think, and that they're players who like to play the game a little bit slower. So that was a bit strange that he left Schneiderlin out, because he'd be, for me, as a, if it was a manager like Van Gaal who's looking to try and stumble upon your best team, Schneiderlin would be one who's in all the time, because he's almost a 7.5 out of 10 every game. You know what you're getting off him.
Got good energy as well, hasn't he? He can get round the pitch a little bit better. I think probably the most consistent performer this season has been Mata, who really probably started the season not knowing whether he was going to be still part of the plans, because he'd been pushed out wide a little bit, but he seems to be the player who makes things tick now. He seems to have sort of stumbled upon a role, which is sort of, I don't know where that leaves Wayne Rooney, because he started the season pretty poorly, and it almost feels like the team is a little bit too fast for him at times. Martial and as I mentioned, Depay and plays like Young as well.
Too fast for Rooney.
Yeah, like it you used to watch United break and he'd be a massive part of that, and I don't know whether he's lost a yard of pace and he's just finds himself too far behind the strikers now.
I think what Rooney's doing, which is what he kind of always does, is when he's not playing well, he just drops deeper and deeper to try and get the ball, because he's a player that wants to be involved in the game. And I think with United not having or certainly from the outside looking in, you don't look as though they've got this set formation or this set side or balance, so therefore they look a little bit chaotic at times. So if you come out of position the way Rooney does, and they're breaking quickly, obviously it's going to be difficult to join up. I know what you mean. He used to explode as an 18, 19, 20-year-old. Him and Ronaldo would just break on you and they covered the ground. There was that goal, like, I think it was Bolton Wanderers years ago, when they broke from their own corner.
Well, he did it against Arsenal a few times, didn't he?
Lightning. And of course he's not gonna be explosive the way he once was, because he's 30 next week. So players do slow down. He's still marvellous footballer. I just think with Rooney, I just think there comes a time in everyone's career when you've probably been somewhere too long, and I think that's where he's at now. I think he's played a lot of football from a young age. I think you can go stale at a club. I think there's been another story. There was the programme last week, a lot of Everton references in the programme. There was a story over the last few days, something me and you've discussed many times, probably over the last 18 months, about, whether the time's right for him to come back to Everton or whatever, whether it be Everton or somewhere else. I just think it gets to a stage where it's not your club. You've been there so long, and it's kind of needing to recharge the batteries. And I think he's probably, for me, looking as an outsider looking in, I think he's probably ready to leave Manchester United now for his own good. So I don't think he feels part of that team. I don't think he's held up in the greatest esteem anymore.
I don't think he's ever been held up in great esteem.
But he was always a very, very important
but I
part
always
of that
think
side.
I always think that's sort of the thing about Rooney. He's always there. He's got all the trophies and he's got the goals, and he'll probably break the records, but he's still always the second man. There's always someone better than him. He was never sort of held up as the top man. I think he was for one season and he was absolutely amazing, but sort of the time,
He then got Van Persie.
Yeah, and then it's so it's going to be interesting.
I mean, I'd love to just on the Rooney thing before you break onto something else. I'd love to sit with him and just say to him, like, just explain your rationale of the last 2 or 3 years to me, because he was at Everton and he left it, he will say the right time. Obviously there was stuff going on. The club probably sold him, if truth be known, more than, or certainly they made the first move in terms of getting him out. He went to United, won everything he could win, bar the FA Cup. Got to 27, 28 when things started going sour. I'd just love to ask him, forget the money. He's one of the unique athletes in the world. He makes a lot of money and will do for the next 3 or 4 years. What motivates you to stay at a club like Manchester United? They're not your club, and you've done everything. So why wouldn't you want to see? Why wouldn't you want to come back to them?
He'd probably. I would think that Man United are always going to be genuine title,
But Everton have been, for me, Everton have been bubbling for the last few years. Not title, not talking about championships. I'm not going all Jurgen Klopp and thinking that Jesus can turn up and turn everything good, wine into water. But what I'm saying is, he's done everything in the game. So as an Evertonian, if I was Wayne Rooney, I'd have got to 27, 28, things started going a little bit sour for me at Manchester United. I've won everything. I'm still a good footballer, and my club, which he still openly says is his club, is bubbling just on the right on the edge, I think, of like Champions League or a trophy, just needing 1 or 2 things. Why then don't you think,
maybe the overtures just haven't been there from the club. Maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I think he's still got a lot to offer.
We've seen when he came on in Ferguson's testimonial how much I think it still means to him. He was clearly taken back, and you have to watch his interview afterwards. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't want to offend anyone at Manchester United, and he doesn't want to sort of build anyone's hopes up at Everton, I think. And he just led to this really bad interview. But I don't know. I suppose the things that keep him at Man United are the things that are the reasons why he's been on top for so long. He still believes Manchester United can win trophies. He still wants to play in the Champions League, wants to play at the highest level for, he still craves it for England, still craves it. I suppose they're the things that you go, that's what... None of us want Wayne Rooney back when he's 32, 33. We want him in the next 18 months, if truth be known.
And that's it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Let's go back to the game. So yeah,
he's still dangerous though.
yeah.
He's still got to look out.
We don't
for
know whether he's going to be fit on Saturday. You know, he's been out for injured for England, but the chances are he probably will be back, which it'll be interesting to see. It'll be weird, won't it? It's like it'll be weird if Rooney plays, and it's like we've had that thing with him in the summer, and then I don't know. It's going to be a bit weird.
I think the other thing though is obviously the summer was great and all that, and some people don't like it, and that's fair enough. No problem with people still being upset by him or whatever. I think a lot of us do like him and think he's a good footballer, and I would entertain world-class players at Everton every day of the week, please, because it doesn't matter whether he's played and left before, he's still a world-class footballer. But I think the thing is, it's gone past for most people now, and going to United game the last few years, it's gone past the hatred thing with him now. And I think Evertonians got onto the fact that, you know, if you just don't even acknowledge it really, he doesn't play as well as he can do, and he's never really, I don't want to say, he put it this way, it's got better. His performances haven't been as effective now that the Everton fans have kind of left him alone. So I hope that continues at the weekend. And I think it will. I think it's about our fans concentrating on us.
Well, the final thing I'll say on the matter is, I think if you want to win things, you need winners at the club. And Everton don't have too many winners at the club. Gareth Barry's won a few bits and bobs at his time at City. The manager's won an FA Cup. But you look round the squad and
McCarthy's won an FA Cup.
Yeah, but you look around the squad and you can't really see many players who've won trophies.
Joe Robles has won FA Cup.
Well, he has, yeah. There's Kone.
Got loads. What are you on about?
No, there isn't. I'm sorry, there isn't. There's not enough winners at Everton Football Club. And if you want to win, you bring a winner in. And I think
who's an Evertonian who's angry.
And I think if he came back to Everton, he'd want to prove something. So that's it. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Moving on. We were talking about, Man United, Arsenal game 3-0 defeat. But, you look at this September, a win against Liverpool, they got beat by PSV, a win away to Southampton, a win at home to Ipswich in the League Cup, a win at home to Sunderland, and a win at home to Wolfsburg in the Champions League. So, they've been winning games by the odd goal. I still think that they are definitely, there for the taking, but it's not like, I think it can be one of them where you look at them and go, they're not actually that good, and you go, well, actually they're not bad, and they've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world playing in goal for them, who saves them a hell of a lot. Fantastic. And that's sort of the worry, isn't it?
I know, but I look at it, our record against United, certainly at Goodison, at Old Trafford, it's obviously not very good, but certainly at Goodison over the last few years have been very good. We beat them 3-0 last season, battered them, could have been more. We beat them 2-0 the season before when they were flying, and it could have been a lot more.
Yeah.
So, we've had those things, we beat them under David Moyes, a couple of times. We came back 3-1 down in injury time against them at Goodison. So, I think the fixture anyway, generally at Goodison produces a decent performance from Everton. Yeah. And in the crowd, I think the fact it's at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
It's a weird one that it's at 3 o'clock, yeah.
It's great because it's what football should be. And I think the thing is, Manchester United, we can sit here, I look at it, and I've got to say, that badge I used to think,
the fear factor's gone. The fear factor's gone since...
I'm sitting here today thinking, I think we'll win 3-1.
The fear factor's gone since Sir Alex left for definite.
But even before then, I was starting to think, we are actually a good side at home. It's tough to beat at Goodison. And I look at the players we've got now. We're a very good side, Everton. But obviously, these have got players that can hurt you, so you'd have to be cautious.
The other thing as well is, if we beat them, we go above them. They've got 16 points, we've got 13 points, and we can go above them. And that's massive. That's another massive thing. That's another massive thing. The season's in its early stages, but we're getting into like a very important time now. We're coming into tough games and then a run of...
Let me say this here. I think if we beat United, it takes the pressure off Arsenal away. I think I'd look at Arsenal almost as a free game, because Arsenal are very tough at the end. We don't do well down at the Emirates. I'm not saying we should go there and throw our hand in, but I'm saying it takes that necessity for points. I think if we draw at United or get beat, we've got to get something at Arsenal, because we're in a situation, you just said there, we beat Manchester United, we go above them, or we'll certainly level on points with them. That means coming into the end of October, we're right in the mix, near that top 4. We've got decent games coming up in November. Games that games you'd look at and go, we can pick some points up here. Imagine Everton being a couple of points off the top coming to the end of October.
But that's what you need to be, though, isn't it?
Well, it is, but we sat here before
Yeah.
Watford and went,
But
this
if you
could be horrible.
No, that's it. And if you want to finish top 4, you've got to be there all season. It doesn't. You can't just go. Oh, we're gonna, I mean, the season before last, it was weird because we did drop off massively, and then we had that like 7-game winning run, and you're not always going to have that. You're not always going to have that. And I think it worked out that if we wanted to finish top 4, we actually would have actually needed to win the last 13 games in a row. So that just showed you how far we dropped off.
Yeah.
So if you want to finish top 4, you've got to be within the points all the way through. It's not something,
The other thing, and I've said it before, if you start strongly, you'd find that you generally stay up and around those European places. Whereas when you start poorly, like we did last year, it seemed like
it's a mountain to climb.
Horrible.
It's a psychological mountain to climb, especially if you're in like 14th or 15th, and the next team is 2 wins away, and you look at it and go, we haven't won 2 games for 4 months. I mean, that's what it was like last season. We've just got to keep it going, I suppose.
And I think the higher you're up, the teams look at you and go, these are and psychologically, because football is a lot about confidence and self-belief, and if teams are coming to Goodison and Everton are 3rd or 4th, it's like, this is going to be tough here, and you can get that first goal, it knocks teams down. We know ourselves from going away. Like last year, we go away to a team who was in the top 5 or 6, and you think we go behind.
Well, that's why we all thought the season was going to be such a tough start, because we all looked at the league last season and just, people do it every year and go, oh, we're playing that, and you go, well, it shouldn't really matter, should it? It's a new season.
But it was a scary start.
The other thing I would say about a good start is, if you have a really good start and you're still in the League Cup, they can complement each other, because that's a trophy, certainly, where if you play well on the Saturday, you don't really want to change the team on the Wednesday, or you want players fighting for those positions to come back in for the League Cup, and again, that's a trophy we all really want to win, so that can work really well. Let's very quickly end the show by talking about the team you'd like to see start on Saturday. So obviously Tim Howard in goal, Seamus Coleman come back at right back, hopefully, as long as there's no reaction to playing for Ireland, which he did alright. Jagielka, obviously. Stones, do you think he'll be back?
I'd like to think so. I mean, I know Roberto's the top blagger when it comes to players who are close to returning. He always tells us everyone's close, doesn't he? And then he don't see them again. But I'd like to think that if he was close for making the West Brom game, I know he didn't play in the derby, but he certainly got a chance of playing at the weekend, and he'd come straight.
You'd like to hope so with obviously not going. He went to report for England and came back, but that was what happened anyway. Yeah. Manchester United bound Brendan Galloway at left back, Gareth Barry, McCarthy, Ross Barkley. Who's your 3 up front?
I'd give Jerry another go. I think he terrifies players. I think
especially because if you think about if he plays on the right, they've got no natural left back at the moment.
No, and I think he is terrified, and he's had a couple of assists for Spanish under-21 side in the week as well. So listen,
confidence for Delafeu is not a problem.
No, so I'd have him on the right hand side. I think he's easier to play at home with the crowd. I think I'd have Kevin Morales on the left, and I know a lot of people will probably say he doesn't deserve it after what he done against West Brom, and he maybe cost us points in the derby because he could have come on. But listen, he's going to be chomping at the bit after that West Brom thing. He's had a couple of weeks of stew over it, hasn't done anything with Belgium, and we haven't done anything on the left hand side. Naismith for me can't play there, he's a waste out there. Kone, he's better 25 minutes from the end of a game, so I would play Morales on the left and obviously Big Rom up front. And I think with them 3, you've got the ability to cause them problems. And the other thing as well with Morales is he scored in the last 2 games against United at Goodison, and players cling on to that kind of thing. United will be wary of him because he can score.
Well, that's it. I can beat De Gea. I've done it before. I can do it again.
And that's the importance, and confidence is important. And I think with having Delafeu on the right, the natural replacements after an hour if he isn't doing the business is Aaron Lennon, who can come on and still give them a problem. Naismith can then come on and maybe affect the game in the last 25 minutes, as can Kone.
And I think what Barkley showed so far this season is he can play in midfield. He's not someone who just is a luxury. So you can get away with 2. I think you can get away with 2 wingers.
But you've said before, and it's spot on, is that we've got enough insurance. We don't need to all. But Barkley can play as a flat 3 with Barry and McCarthy and look after that midfield, no problem. Manchester United don't play with a conventional shape, so it isn't always the case.
And obviously we've mentioned Galloway loads of times, the fact that he doesn't get forward as much as Baines would or Oviedo would, so So you can get away without a winger in front of him.
And don't forget it. Look, he's the flexibility's there to mix and match during the game anyway. You know, the in-game management. So I think it's about Everton taking the game to United.
Prediction?
I think we'll win 3-1.
I'll go for a 2-1 win. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. Big thumbs up for the video. Subscribe up here. Press the button. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well. It is at Toffee TV. Join in the conversation there as well.
Facebook.
Tell us your thoughts.
There.
Yeah.
Do it all. ToffeeTV.net. Visit there. Tell your mates. Yeah, love it.
Thanks for joining us on Toffee TV.